Hello, buddy. Welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today we're going to be starting a brand new campaign with the Sisters of Twilight. So, special thanks to Brennan and Casey for sponsoring this campaign. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to sponsor a campaign yourself, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. Let me know what you have in mind. Just $3 an episode, minimum 10 episodes. I'm happy to do anything you want to see. And then you can also stop by the stream as well. We start around 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually go till about 2 or 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Very friendly, chill community. We'd love to have you stop by. It's only on YouTube. Right now we're just streaming League of Legends, but I'm happy to talk about Total War Warhammer with you if you want. There's a possibility that I might be streaming some Warhammer in the future at a different time, so be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll keep you posted on that. Maybe we can do a stream on the weekend or something. But anyways, and be sure to check out the rest of the content as well. I have dozens and dozens of other campaigns on the channel. I know I've been on a sabbatical here for the last couple of months. So I appreciate y'all being patient with me, but I am going to start consistently releasing these content campaigns more often. I just had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and anyways, it is what it is. But I'm going to start or pick up, I guess, continue releasing a lot of Total War content. Okay, let's go ahead and get in here. Okay, so Forge of Daith, I'll show you when you get in there. You can kind of craft unique armor that you can give to your lords or your heroes, which is very useful. You get 10% extra ammo on your armies. You get Volley of Kurnos for Hawk Riders, which is super strong. Upkeep reduction for missile units, including flying missile units or cavalry missile units. Plus 10 melee attack for flying units, which is really good. And plus 15% charge bonus, which is really good. So going on Mortal Empires, Legendary, very hard Legendary. Let's go ahead and get going. And this is as of May in 2021. So they have done some patch changes, and of course the Elves got reworked. So if you haven't played them in a while, this is a really fun new system that they have. I did a Drycha campaign, the Avatar of Woe, and I really enjoyed that a lot. I'll go over the mechanics as we get in there, and then we'll get into a few fights, but it's a very interesting blend of aggression and defense. So I think it's a unique play style from every other faction, where you try to go around and take over these key forests, and you can teleport around the map to these forests, and you burn all of the surrounding stuff, but then you also have to defend your main town, because you're not going to have a lot of towns. And so it's, like I said, you have to be very nimble and make good decisions about where you're going to move, and you have to have good visibility and things of that nature. And then you eventually power up as you restore these forests, and you complete your main tree forest, and that's pretty much your win condition.
Greetings, Sisters of Twilight.
Okay. So here are the forests that I mentioned before. And I'm still getting back into the mechanics. I've practiced this a little bit, so my battle mechanics would be like okay, but not as sharp as they were. I'm getting back to form here, but it should be good enough. So this is your forest. You have to get it up to 100 heath, and then you end up fighting some armies that come in and try to stop you. But once you get it to 100 heath, it's locked, and you keep it unless the town gets burned. And you get bonuses. So this one gives you research rate. If you scale up and look at some of the other ones, this one over here gives you magic reserves. This one down here gives you casualty replenishment. The main one gives you 20% upkeep for all units. That's Oak of the Ages. So that one is a very big heath. You have to get up to 500 on that. So that's your main win condition town. And then this one gives you campaign movement range. That's huge. I think that's going to be the first one we're going to try to go to. Goblins historically are one of the easiest factions to fight as well. And then this one gives you recruitment cost, which is okay. And then this one gives you income from buildings. So the campaign movement range is huge. The other ones are just kind of whatever. This one right here can be pretty good. But that's how that works. And then the main town got a little bit of a rework. It doesn't cost any growth to upgrade these, but it does cost growth to, or what they're calling kindreds, to upgrade your individual towns. So this is almost like a horde town, where you kind of have to commit to a couple of different types of units. It looks like these, like the main army buildings, don't require you to do that, but a lot of the utility buildings require the growth to upgrade. So it's kind of an interesting blend of a traditional town plus horde town. So you definitely want your money early on, of course. And then this actually gives pretty good money now too, 300 instead. And you kind of want to upgrade these. It does give you, you never have walls, which is really scary, but it does give you a few more units. So it gives you up to 5 extra units if you upgrade it, but you get reload time reduction and extra ammo under siege. So it helps protect your towns a little bit, but realistically, you're going to get blasted if you get hit with a major army. So you have to really pay attention and, you know, not let people catch you off guard. This also does give 5 growth in all provinces, which is very, very nice. So this is going to be another high priority thing that we want. And then as far as units, they added in a couple of units and they moved some of them around. So they moved the Waystalker down to tier 2, so you can get that faster. And they also have the new Glade Captain, which is sort of a hybrid unit. It does have increased mobility, which is really handy, and a couple of other buffs. So it has this buff that gives like extra defense, 5 extra defense. I think it can be upgraded to give 10. So that's kind of handy. This is obviously going to be good if you're running a bunch of archers, which we probably will because we're Wood Elves. The Branch Wraith is still tier 3. He's very strong. He does have the damage walls, which is huge because you don't have any artillery. So he's really one of the only ways you can get into towns on the first turn without having to wait for the siege engines, which you don't want to do most of the time. So that's really good. They did move the Wild Riders down to tier 3 and lowered their stats accordingly a little bit. So they have less melee defense and attack, but they're just kind of good mid-tier shock cavalry. They're going to lose to other heavily armored cav if they stay in combat for a while, but they're pretty good at like flanking and running down archers and things like that. So they're pretty solid. They did move the Sisters up to tier 4. Maybe they were tier 4 originally. They may have been tier 5 also. I don't know, but they're tier 4 now. You do get a couple of free spells with them, which is pretty handy. And there's some nice skirmisher cav. They have poison to slow people down. So it's a pretty good utility unit. A little on the expensive side, but they're all right. And then they just added these great Stag Knights, which are very similar to how the old Wild Riders used to be. There's a smaller stack size on them of 32 instead of the 64. They have a bit more armor piercing damage. But their melee attack and defense is still like fairly low. So again, you don't want to get them bogged down in combat with a lot of other units. You want to be nimble and just use your charge cycling if you can. Hawk Riders are now tier 3. I believe they used to be tier 4. And you can even get them tier 2 in this special town. Each one of the forests has their own temple as well that you can upgrade and get different bonuses. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, you can get those at tier 3 now. Treekin are basically the same. I feel like I think they're pretty much the same. What else? They added in these Glade Riders, the Avatar of Woes. These are kind of just entry-level shock cav, which are pretty good. You still have your skirmisher cav. To get the poison tips, you're going to have to get the Acerey Forge. So that's something to keep in mind. And they did make the shields really, really strong. I don't remember, maybe they were this strong before, but they definitely made it worth your while to get the shields on these units because now they have 44 melee defense and they have pretty high piercing damage. They do 40 piercing, so I think that's way less than they used to, balance change-wise. I haven't read the patch notes from the last few patches, but that's something that strikes me as being relatively new since the last time I played it. So that is very strong and very cost efficient, but you have to get this forge. So these things kind of sucked before these forges. You really didn't want to get them. Like the only reason you would get one of these forges would be so that you could get the Way Watchers, which don't even require the forge anymore. So the only archer that requires it is the Swift Shiver Shards, which are very strong. And I guess the Starfire Shards as well. But it's only one forge now. It used to be 2. I think there was one set for melee and one set for range, but now it's just all consolidated into one forge. So maybe it's worth it to get this now. You do have limited building slots, so that's something to keep in mind. But anyways, those shields definitely make it a lot more enticing to consider getting the forge because that's a very big upgrade. I mean, it's 10 extra melee defense over the normal guard, and you get a silver shield with literally no drawback. Like, it doesn't lower the melee attack. It used to have lower melee attack and higher defense with shields, but now it's just all upside. It's just all good when you get the shield. So that is useful. These War Dancers no longer require any kind of forge. To be honest, these have been really bad in the past. Like, they look good on paper, but they just do not perform in combat, at least in my experience. Their armor is just so low and their HP is very low. Now, they do have dodge chance, and I think they can go into a stance that increases their melee defense at a certain point, but... And I believe they are lower cost now, too. I think they used to be in the 300s. So, it looks like they've balanced them maybe a little bit better, but these could be some good kind of flank and cleanup units. If you want that type of thing, I would probably just rather run with the Cav. These would be better on a siege maybe, but I still just would not specialize in these most of the time. They did add these Blade Singers in, which are going to be a little bit better. They do some extra damage. I mean, 44 melee attack and 42 defense is good, but, you know, at the same time, the armor is just so low, they're just going to get melted. Especially they don't have any shields. Anything that's ranged is going to delete them. So on paper, they look good, but I think the strategy is still just going to be, especially with Sisters of Twilight, just get a bunch of Hawk Riders and just get something solid on the ground, right? Maybe get some Archers, some Way Watchers, or whatever on the ground, and then just either get some Spears or some Treekin, or just something beefy on the ground, and maybe, you know, have some flanking to clean up with the Wild Riders. Maybe. It may not even be necessary. You might just be able to flank and clean them up with the Hawk Riders. But anyways, so some interesting new changes there. We'll go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into a fight, and then I'll go over the rest of it, because I don't want to go too long without a fight here.
Remain calm. They will know
This
order.
is the life.
So this first episode, I am going to be explaining a pretty good chunk, just so you can kind of get a sense of
Absolutely.
what's going on and the decisions that I'm making.
FUS speaks to me. War,
But also don't want to bore you to tears, so I'm going to try to make sure I get into some fights
It
too.
will be a glorious battle.
So the Hawk Riders in general are the specialty of Twilight's, or the Sisters of Twilight, and they're very, very good for the Wood Elves. I mean, they are, because not only are they archers, but obviously normal stuff that's good against archers isn't going to be as good against them. So cavalry, a lot of times, is going to have a hard time against them because they can't hit them most of the time. But they also are very fast. They can reposition to get behind units. So if you shoot them in the back, shields don't work as well, and you don't risk hitting your own units also with that. And it can freak out enemy archers if you're running around over top of them. Sometimes the AI will have them on skirmish mode. So it'll kind of, you know, they'll just keep running around a little bit. Now the AI has gotten smarter about that, so a lot of times they will turn off skirmish mode.
awaiting orders.
But that's still something you can do, is just kind of freak them out positionally. We're probably not even going to have to use the spears on this, but we'll go ahead and get them in position. And then they also have pretty good charge bonus too, right? They got 48 charge bonus, and they have like some pretty heavy armor piercing damage. So they are low armor, low HP, so you really don't want to, you know, bring them in there like too much. But they're good at running down stuff and cleaning up, so you don't have to have traditional cavalry if you don't want to. I mean, your cavalry is not that much tankier, honestly, than the birds are, so... and Wild Riders are kind of expensive. But yeah, the name of the game with the, name of the game with the Elves is just being nimble. That's kind of their theme, with the Wood Elves at least, is you have really fast units, you're very agile, but your units are very fragile. Now, they often do have a lot of melee attack and defense, so that's good, but... and on her, just like some artillery, you can pick either like this spread shot that's very good against infantry, or you can pick this single shot, which is better against bigger units. And like I said, my controls are going to be a little bit off as I kind of get used to getting back in the Warhammer state of mind here, but so forgive me if it looks a little rustier, but it should still be alright. Now, you do have to watch out with your Hawks. You don't want them to go toe-to-toe with other enemy archers a lot of times.
For the eternal realms. Azrael attack. At one.
Nestra and Arahan,
Eternal guard.
Sisters of Twilight. Impose order.
They will die.
Ariel shows the way.
He's trying to neutralize their archers. Basically, if you take out their missile units, then they're not going to be able to do very much.
Awaiting
We don't have any useful spells here unless we get into melee, which we're probably not going to have to do here.
Ariel expects! Guided by the weave.
Your orders for Athel Lauren with haste. Glade Guard. Children of Isha, attack!
Taste my bow!
Ever ready. Very well. Orders received.
Oh yeah, you have this volley of Kurnos too, which is huge. Like, look at this. You fire one from each bird, and it's AoE splash. Look at that. That's ridiculous. So when we have a bunch of those, we're just going to be able to melt.
Our bows are yours. End them!
Sisters of Twilight! They must fall!
Season of wrath.
For Ariel! Hunters!
Okay, and they're in a town, so we can just go ahead and... If you want to give all the experience to one unit, then, you know, like if we wanted to stack all of our experience on the cavalry, we could just have the cavalry run everybody down. But just for the sake of time, so we can get through as much as we can of the campaign, then we'll just go ahead and end it. Obviously, you want to run down and kill everybody if they're not trapped in a town, but they're all going to die because they're in the town. Now, you want to burn the vast majority of the time. At least that's with the Avatar of Woe. It really was not worth occupying. You can still have public order problems if you occupy, potentially, and you just don't get a lot of gold or a lot of benefit out of it, so it's better just to burn it. You get a bonus for burning as well. And the usual strategy is you burn it, and then if someone occupies it, then you can burn it again. And they're going to be injured if they occupy it, because they're going to have to colonize. So usually burning it is good. And that's kind of a form of defense as well, that people have to run through this like burned land to get to you a lot of times.
The land
So if you
must be
clear it, you get
cleansed.
+5, and then if it's burned, you get +1 per turn.
Make these fools cower.
You can also occupy it, but again, it's going to give you provincial instability, which is not
There will
great.
be consequences.
You don't get as much money
They
for it,
cannot remain a threat.
and you don't get the 5 bonus for burning it.
Eradicate them, root and branch.
They are marked.
So usually you just want to go ahead and burn it, I think. Now maybe they buffed it in patches where it might be okay to own some places.
Unbridled glory
It's
of battle.
if you are in another, if you're not in your main town, if we're in one of these other forests and it's just too expensive to level up the main towns, we don't want to mess with that for some reason, but we want to be able to recruit some entry level stuff without having a global
Serene
recruit, then I could see maybe getting it.
Tempestuous Arahan.
I think you can also get some growth if you want to like buff up your town faster, but I think money's going to be the limiting factor, and we really don't need to go much more above tier 3 in the early game. Like, there's not that much to rush. Like, the dragons are cool late game, but like once we get the Hawk Riders, like, we're pretty good to go for quite a while. I'd rather spend the money just building out armies. Now, with this, because we're going to be focusing on like Hawk Riders and just other sort of supporting cast units, I don't think it's worth it to go for the red tree, because we're not going to have that much Eternal Guard. We will have some, but most of our power is going to be in our Hawk Riders, and there just aren't good bonuses for those early. You get extra weapon strength and charge bonus, and you get like reload reduction time, that's all good. It's okay. Obviously later on, like, that's really good, and then swift and sturdy, 12% missile strength is good, but like early on, I think the blue tree is most important, because money is definitely an issue, because you're only going to have like the main towns most of the time making money, and then just whatever you get from winning battles. So I feel like getting like Wonders of the Forest here is very good, and then this Obscuring Canopy, which gives extra missile strength during ambushes and gives you ambush chance, is very nice, because there will be some battles that show up where pretty much you get a free ambush if you attack them, or at least you have a really high chance of ambushing, and it only costs you 10% movement to go into ambush stance, And ambush is very good because you want to sit there undetected sometimes, and then if they try to occupy the town, then you can just attack them and kill them next turn after they colonize. So ambush is really good with elves. You can't ambush on the attack like Skaven or Beastmen, but they're one of the better defensive ambushing factions. And that's going to allow us to get to Lightning Strike, which is obviously massively important if you've watched any campaigns, for dealing with multiple stacks of enemy armies. It's just kind of a must-get skill. And then just really good stuff over here in general. The 15% casualty replenishment. Upkeep reduction is massive because, again, we're probably not going to be earning that much gold in general. So that's all very good. Your specialty stuff, we'll go over that later, but she has some pretty decent specialty stuff. One thing that I will note is you have to choose one of these. You cannot get Howl of the Forest, Sight Beyond Sight, and Possessed by the Trickster God. Now, your heroes are going to have this stuff as well. So, you know, the Glade hero is going to have this 10 melee that she can get. Sight Beyond Sight, Waywatcher is going to get that. And then Howl of the Forest is going to be the Branch Wraith. So, you know, you can kind of decide which one of those you want to get. The Branch Wraith is going to be the one that's going to take the most time to come online. So the 9 melee attack might be worth it. But then again, you know, our ranged units are going to be doing the most damage. So maybe this. And you can bring this with the Hawk Riders. And then you can have the Waywatcher sit with the archers on the ground. So you get better coverage of the missile damage. So I'll probably end up going with this one. Because the Hawk Riders, especially on sieges, are going to be most likely flying behind enemy lines and things like that. So out of the range of the normal Waywatcher. Okay. Oh, they changed that to reload reduction time instead of just flat out damage, which kind of sucks because you run out of ammo almost all the time with the normal archers. So, or an additional Date's Favor. Okay. So with her, you're just rushing Flock of Doom, sort of standard with Beast. And then over here, you have a few different items. So how this works is you can spend 1 favor, and then once you have the first one, you can spend 2 favor to upgrade it, and then 3 favor to get the next one. Then you can spend 2 to reforge it. So for 5 turns, you basically get a big bonus. And I think that even works if it's tier 1, you can reforge it to tier 2. There's kind of different themes here as well. I'll just go ahead and tell you, I think the Eagle's pretty bad all around. It's just like personal buffs, and I mean, maybe I'm like not respecting some of this stuff, but Eagle's bad. So I would not get Eagle most of the time. Dragon, there are a couple of things that are okay with Dragon. So, and basically these are 4 different item slots. Your 3 on the right that you have on your character screen, and then 1 in the or 3 on the left, and then 1 in the upper right. So you can have multiple of these, but you can only equip 1 at a time per lord. But you can put them on different lords, and you can put them on heroes. But I believe you can only ever have 1. I think. I'm pretty sure you can only have 1. So you can't make like 2 Dragon Masks, for example. Could be wrong about that. We'll see. But Dragon Mask, speaking of which, is a very good one. So this is one that I would highly consider getting. You have to wear it on a lord, I'm pretty sure, but you get post-battle loot and extra money from raising settlements. Again, money's very important. And then you get -9 melee defense on the people that you're standing over, and -15 armor. So that's very good against kind of just low-tier infantry stuff, Skaven, Beastmen, which we are going to be fighting early. So that one is pretty solid. And that's the only one that I think is that great. The other ones are not that great. So Dragon Mask, worth considering. The ones that are really good are Twilight and Dreaming, and these are kind of a tough call. So this one, Vigor Loss Reduction, -44% for your whole army, is massive. That, if you don't know this, I'm not going to go through all the math just to save time, but like Vigor Loss Reduction pretty much is like one of the best stats in the game, because as your units get more tired, they have less melee defense, less melee attack, less armor, they move slower, they're less accurate with weapons, they lose leadership. It just basically hits all of their stats as they get tired. So -44% Vigor Loss Reduction is huge. A lot of the factions that have like the 3 points in Vigor Loss Reduction, I think like Dwarfs might have it, and some other ones, a lot of times that's like 15%, unless they buffed it. So getting 44% is like 3 times as powerful as the skills that give it. And then if you turn this on, if you reforge it, it's perfect vigor, so they literally never get tired, and you can globally recruit a lot faster, which is huge, because you're not going to be able to update all or upgrade all of your main trees, because it's just way too expensive and way too risky. So you know, trying to cover that, or just having that ability to globally recruit faster is huge. And I think you can get a technology that lowers it by 1 as well. So that means you could get something that would normally take 2 turns, like your Hawk Riders, to recruit. I believe they usually take 2 turns. It might be 1 turn. But anything that takes 2 turns would normally be 4 on a global recruit. But if you get -3, you can get them in 1 turn. And you would save 30% on the recruitment cost of that, which can be very expensive. So that one's very nice. This Twilight Helm is kind of whatever. It's okay. It's not insane. Twilight Spear is extremely good. 15% extra missile strength for all units in your army. And 6 melee attack for all units in your army. And if you upgrade it, if you have a really tough fight, then you get 2 free casts of like the Shadow Magic Vortex. So that's obviously going to be very good. And you get a little bit of extra melee attack as well. So that one's pretty solid. And then this one down here, +6 melee defense for everybody. And you have this Twilight Helm, which gives +6% physical resist to everybody. So this is a very good defensive stat just to kind of hover, you know, your Lord over your melee stack and just fire down into them. Can be very nice. Like the extra 6 melee defense is very helpful versus the Elves. Or versus like Skaven and Beastmen and some of these lower level things. And then if you reforge it, then it also lowers their melee attack and base weapon damage and gives you extra melee defense. So it's really, really good if you have a tough battle coming up. That can be pretty solid. And she personally gets 20 extra armor. So if you have to come down and face tank, or if you're dueling another Lord or something like that, it can be pretty good. So I do think that that is quite strong. And then Dreaming is the last one that I'll mention. There are several good ones here. This one is obviously very notable. 15% cost on all units. Is going to be super strong. Now, the Reforged is not that great. It's okay. Now, Dreaming Cloak. This does give you Glade Guard for Dreaming Cloak 1. Dreaming Cloak 2 gives you Deepwood Scouts. And then once you upgrade it all the way, then that gives you an extra Way Watchers, which is your best, you know, unit in the game. So basically, you just get a free Way Watcher every fight, which is awesome. So that one's super strong. This Dreaming Ring can be very good. It gives you extra Winds of Magic, casualty replenishment rate in foreign territory, which is where you're going to be most of the time, because everywhere you go, you're going to burn. So that can be good, but you have to... You get a little bit, but really you have to go into encamp stance to get a lot of benefit out of that. So it's kind of hit or miss. But in combat, this has is unlimited uses. Every 2 minutes you can give a unit back all of its vigor and 1600 health. So that's obviously very strong. Then when you upgrade all the way, I believe that's a typo. It says Winds of Magic Reserve +1. I assume that's probably 100. But it's definitely not 1, right? Because the normal one gives you 20. So I'm not sure what's up with that. This one, just personal missile strength and campaign line of sight is not insane. The campaign line of sight might actually be relevant if you're getting, you know, if you're just kind of in a backdoor type of situation. That actually could be good. But in general, it's one of the weaker ones. And then this one... you would pretty much get this just for the 20% movement range, which is handy. But you could just put 1 point in it and get the 10% movement range, which is pretty good. So it's okay. And this says own army as well, so that means you can put it on a hero, which is nice. You don't have to have it take up an army slot. So I think we're going to start off. Some of these fights can get a little dicey against the Tomb King units especially, and then we might end up fighting Beastmen or Skaven early. So I'm thinking maybe this melee defense and the 6% physical resist might be worth it, just because our spears are going to have to hold the line against a lot of just swarms of skeletons. So I think that's probably where I want to be. There's definitely an argument for the missile strength one as well, and the 4 melee attack, but I think we'll go with Twilight Helm first, and then we'll probably try to get the missile one next. Okay, so again, I'm not going to talk that much in other episodes, but I just want to walk you through my thought process with some of these things. Okay, then we have Grapevines, did all that. Technology, you have to get this one first. We'll talk about the rest of the text in a little bit, but that's your only option early on. And then we actually do own this property. You start with this. When we did the Avatar of Woe, I believe we did not start with this. So you had to figure out a way to go fight it or get it yourself with the Avatar of Woe. But here, if you upgrade this, it gives you an option to confederate with Torghaven and Wendrioth. So that's obviously going to be pretty good. Now, I don't know if stuff comes at you. It doesn't say that it comes at you if you get this, but it's kind of expensive to upgrade, but it's handy. And so we're just going to go ahead and try to be friendly with these guys because we would like to confederate with them. That's kind of the real end game. If you get the confederation, it's very difficult to lose. Although one cool thing about this campaign is like you're always kind of vulnerable, right? I don't care that much. I don't want to spend money on them. It'll force a confederation. I'm not sure what's required for that quest, but anyways, okay, I think that's it. We do have offices, but you have to have other lords before these offices come into play, different themes. The one that really matters maybe in the early game is deciding whether or not you want to get a dark magic lord, because this does give 15% or plus 15 winds of magic faction wide. So, and you can put them in the office and then dismiss them. So it's just going to cost you like 1,000 gold early, put them in the office and then just dismiss them. So, you know, once we get Flock of Doom in the next couple of turns, we can decide if that's worth it or not. But yeah, if you want to recruit, like, nah, I gotta do this stuff. Okay. Bye, love you. So yeah, you could buy one of these for 1,000 gold, put her in the office, and then just dismiss, unless they change that. But I believe they used to be able to hold office even while they're dismissed. So that could be a really quick way to just pick up 15 extra winds of magic on your wizard early, if you want to do that. So we'll probably do that eventually, but not right now.
The unbridled glory of battle.
And we'll try to keep the episodes to about 45 minutes to an hour is what I'm aiming at. I feel like if it has that hour price tag on it, that scares a lot of people off. So we need to keep it on double digits on the minutes there. Or I don't even know how you describe that. Not have the extra digit. Keep it at 4 digits, not 5.
Why do you waste energy?
What people say. Okay, so we are at war with these clowns. I don't know where they came in. Are they really down there right now? Usually they don't start down there. They're trespassing. Well,
I am content.
I hope.
am bored.
Hopefully they don't kill this. I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead through here and then we'll go back down and try to deal with them in a little bit.
Order is all. Twin defenders
okay.
of the glades.
So, kind of like what I just described, they went ahead and colonized it, so we're gonna go ahead and take them down. You just want to keep everything clear all around you. Now, usually you would look and see if they're at war with somebody and then try to get the person they're at war with to pay you to kill them, but I know they're not going to do that because I've already checked it out, so just saving a little time here.
It will be a glorious battle.
But in general, for the record, you want to make sure that you're checking out. Oh, shit, I don't think I equipped the item. It doesn't automatically get equipped when you make the item, so you have to equip it. So I should be able, this is not like a really hard fight, so we should be able to win this one anyways, but I definitely want to make sure this is equipped and then equip the other item, because the next Tomb Kings fight, you can win it. Like, I've won it both times, but it definitely can get a little spooky early on. I've tested out this campaign doing a couple of different things for like the first 5 turns or so.
Sisters of Twilight.
And there's definitely some RNG at times that we'll talk about. So sometimes it's way harder than other times. Like the first time I did it, the army that I had to fight, the Skaven army that comes out, minor spoiler alert, wasn't really that hard. But then the second one was absolutely absurd. And I just didn't respect it. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know it was going to be as crazy as it was. I don't think I was necessarily wrong for looking at it, but it was definitely kind of rough. Again, with these kind of entry-level armies, because they don't have any cavalry, I don't think we're going to actually have to use the spears. Still don't have Flock of Doom, so...
War is tragedy. Hunting my foes.
Kill them! Very well. Ride them down!
just melts him.
Blade guard! For Kurnos!
Sisters of Twilight!
What? Okay, I don't know why we ran way over there.
We never miss! To the fray! Ever ready! At once!
Trying to take out these hawks if we can.
Rise, sons of Kurnos!
Are they flying at me now? Probably.
Blade guard! They will die!
Okay, I mean that should pretty much deal with them.
At once!
Sisters of Twilight! Lighting the path!
Blade guard! A speed! Aye! Yes! Hunters! The gas spells against the Blade guard! Quickly! Orders! Armed and ready! Awaiting orders! Sound the horn! For Eldrasor! For Athel Lauren! At speed! Blade guard!
Yeah, this thing just moves so slowly. It's just really not much of a threat.
Sisters of Twilight! Sister, I approve!
Riders ready! Swiftly! Orders! Yes! Quickly! For Eldrasor! Protectors of the forest!
Your orders!
Armed and ready! Now! We are tireless!
Ariel expects! Guided by the weak!
Our bows are yours! Our aim is true! Ever
He does have a
ready!
pretty good chunk of armor, so it can take a little minute to
Ready
take
to
him down,
fire!
but
At pace! We will obey! Eternal God!
and then, you know, Kotep doesn't really do anything. We gotta be a little careful. We don't want,
Blade guard!
want to try to keep our light infantry away from him, because he does have, like, a whirlwind he can cast.
We accept!
Okay. Yeah, Kotep's pretty weak in the early game. Like, he can do alright against, like, heavily bunched up melee units because he has, you know, the whirlwind that he can cast that does a lot of damage to those, but against our army, I mean, there's nothing they can do. Really, like, what we're afraid of with our army is just, like, huge swarms of melee with, like, shields. Like, meat shield type of stuff. So, like, if they had a huge amount of, like, skeletons, that would be sort of problematic. Or, like, really fast-moving, missile-resistant cavalry type of stuff. So either cavalry with shields or, like, big monsters that have a lot of armor. All of those are bad news right now. So when we RNG'd the second Skaven army,
Prevailed!
they had a Brood Lord and 4 Mutant Rat Ogres on, like, turn 4. Turn 5. And so a couple of other tier 5 units too, but that's like exactly what you don't want to see. It's pretty gross. So hopefully we don't get that this
The
time.
land
Okay, just clear the
must be
Heathland.
cleansed.
It's not much money, but it does give
Total
us
destruction. Regrettable, but
does give us
necessary.
that. Okay, so we get extra winds of magic here. Okay, we do have Flock of Doom now, so how much is this? This is 4,000. Okay, I think I can go ahead and hire a lord.
The seasons
Test it out and see.
smile upon us.
So let's go ahead and get disciplined. I think it has to match this. So I think this has to be like a dark reaver. Not 100%. Nothing else gives your whole faction wide. I guess that's minus 25% cast chance faction wide. But most other things are not faction wide permanently. Yeah, most of it's just Lord's army, or other things. Okay, Spellweavers get extra. Okay, so there's a possibility that they fixed this, but I just don't know. But yeah, let's try it out.
How I enjoyed that. I weave the living forest.
Okay, yeah, so she can't be in these, but she can be in these other ones. That's interesting. Huh. Okay, well. Put her there.
Ariel's will triumphs once more.
Okay, yeah, she still stays in there, so they didn't fix that. And she's not, like, permanently removed. So if we look at Lords, she's just, I don't think. I think she's just wounded. It's not showing her under Lords and Heroes yet, which is a little weird, but she still has the office, unless that's bugged. So usually if you just kick a Lord like that, it doesn't remove them, it just like wounds them for so many turns. At least historically. And then that way, if I need to defend a town or something, I can just bring her back in for free. Oh, I can look here and see. Let's see. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Like I said, it used to work like that, but it's totally possible they could have changed it, because it was a little cheesy. I think that your army should have to be on the battlefield, honestly, to get the bonus, but ambush success chance or missile strength during ambushes. Now, I could get ambushed as well, and it could give missile strength when I get ambushed. I think. It doesn't say it has to be my ambush. Okay, so we can either go Wonders of the Forest for extra money and post-battle loot. I think we'll just go with that for now. Okay, now we have to remember to equip these weapons. So, Twilight Helm, and then maybe the Vigor Loss Reduction. The Dragon one is pretty good too. That's income from post-battle loot, which is nice, and they lose 9 melee defense. Which, again, our spears aren't going to be doing a ton of the damage, but lowering the armor is definitely relevant too, because those skeletons are not going to have much armor. Other option, I don't think the upkeep reduction is very nice. What is this? The Dreaming Cloak. That does give us an extra unit of Glade Guard, which is pretty handy. Dreaming Ring is okay, but that doesn't have to be Lord, does it? No. So that could be on anybody. And then the only one over here is Dragon, so it does give post-battle loot too, which is pretty dang nice. I did get... Yeah, this is the armor and melee defense. I thought there was another AoE one I'm not thinking of. The leadership penalty is worth considering. Okay, so it's either going to be vigor loss reduction and recruitment cost, or melee defense. I mean, the lowered melee defense actually would help quite a bit with... You have to be close to it, but that would help with, like, charging with the cavalry. Yeah, let's go with the Dragon Helm here.
Faith crafts like no other.
Sister, give it me. When do we fight?
Only when necessary.
Okay, and I think we can hand these off later if we want to, but yeah, we definitely want to make sure those are equipped. And everything else should be all good.
How I enjoyed that.
Look on time, 45 minutes. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get this second fight in yet. Or this third fight. Oh god, really?
Ariel sees all.
I just saw a Beastman stack coming over here.
Seek harmony.
Can they beat us early? I really don't want to have to hire another lord.
Inseparable. Invincible.
Well, we have a Treekin and we
Let
have
there be
Wildwood
peace.
Rangers.
Let there be battle.
I think we can probably handle them. I don't think I can
Bring
even
me
get back
battle.
there in time. I mean, I guess I could dash back.
I'm bored.
But then he's going to get to power up
Cease
again.
your prattle.
Can we defend it?
Why do we waste time?
Why do you waste energy? Moving with grace.
I'm going to try to move forward with this because I don't want these guys to power up again.
Merge with shadow.
So this could be greedy. These beastmen did not come at me and try to fight me this fast early on. Let me see if we can figure out if that lord is like permanently... No, okay, so they are just wounded for 4 turns. It just wasn't showing up. And they are still serving here. Okay, so we can hire them as a free lord
Bliss.
if we want to in a little bit.
Oh, sister.
Alright, well, let's see what we're facing here. Doing it for science, see what these beastmen have. If they just have some low-tier garbage units, we might be able to beat them. So I could have dashed back and probably defended, but then I would have been
content.
quagmired with these Tomb Kings. I'm not even sure. Are they they're probably at war with me, right? The purple ones? Yeah, they are. But... So they could have hit me last turn.
Dawn, dusk, stronger together.
I mean, how much... It's 615 per turn if I want to hire... I like these guys in general. I feel like those are the strongest ones. I don't think we can hold offices with those, though. -2 cost for Apotheosis. Now, when it says Lord's Army, that does not include the garrison. So I'm thinking of buying one of these guys to have a garrison, basically, that can help defend. Okay, so I could hire one of these Beast Lords and put her in there. Oh, I do get ranks. I forgot I get 3 ranks for Spellweavers, so... Who has strong magic at tier 3 that would be good? Let me just look at this really quickly, because I can't remember. They've nerfed some things quite a bit. I think they nerfed Earthblood. Only affects 4s, 1200. I mean, we could have Flock of Doom if we do Beasts, which is always good. We would get an extra transformation of Kadan, but you have to be much higher level to do that. So, I mean, I could just get, 2 or 3 points in Flock of Doom. That's going to cost me 1,000 gold.
Sanctity of dawn.
The frisson of dusk.
But they're presumably recruiting, because they can recruit while they're invisible like that. So if they have a 20 stack of stuff, I don't think I can beat a 20 stack with that. Because I have some good stuff. I have like 1 Treeman and like 1 Glade Guard, but I just don't think that's going to be that good. Or I could get a tier 2 Treeman. Or a tier 1 Treeman. Who's like a good tank, but doesn't have a lot of skills. Now this one, okay, so that does upgrade the garrison a decent chunk. What do we get? A couple of Glade Riders. But that's not going to happen for a while.
Itching for fresh battle.
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and start off next episode. I'll think about it. We're going to go ahead and do this fight here and sort of see how it goes. And then we'll probably hire a beast person here to try to hold it down. And yes, it sucks. It's going to cost me like 2,000 gold to deal with that, but it's better than losing the game. And then we can always hire them back. If they don't attack us, we can just eventually dismiss it and bring her down here. Isn't one of these buildings lower the cost of upkeep cost of units in an area? I don't remember. But anyways, okay. Well, that's gonna be it. So we'll start off with this fight next episode, and then we will also probably hire a lord just in case to defend this. I don't think we have to hire any units per se, but just having the lord there for the extra leadership and just the Flock of Doom spam is probably good. And then eventually, once we get a few more levels on this, then we can get guard platform and craftsman's tree. Probably we'll have to get this unit too, but anyways, we'll figure it out. But thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It is going to pick up a lot in the next few episodes. I'm just going to be fighting, not explaining stuff as much until it becomes more relevant. But I just wanted to once again set you guys up just so you kind of know what's going on. And if you want to, play your own campaign and play along and kind of compare your choices to my choices, then I just want to lay it all out there for you. So anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. Special thanks again to Brennan and Casey. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to sponsor a campaign yourself, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. Let me know what you have in mind. And I'll see you next time. Have a good day.